Hey, what's up? It's Lenny Schmidt. Hold on. Chaos is breaking out here at the Schmidt house. Hi, welcome to Quarantine Comedy. I'm Lenny Schmidt. Thanks for being here. Hey, I'm live, man. I'm not doing the promo thing this time. This is just me live. The promo is too long. I need to cut it down a little bit shorter. So I'm just here to say hi. Welcome to the show. This is Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy. We are on 3 nights a week live. We stream live 3 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also, some extra uploads throughout the week, stuff you guys may or may not know about. All the episodes also are uploaded to podcasts on all related podcast platforms. So if you watched Colin Moulton's episode the other day, that episode is indeed up on podcast. It was a long one. That was an hour and 45 minutes, I think. That one was very long. This one will be shorter, much shorter. Our guest, Gary Conan, has a very important show to run off to after this, so we need to wrap up and get him out the door. He's a very popular man, Gary Conan. I snuck him in on the show. I don't think he realizes what he agreed to, but he's going to be here at this show. The rest of you guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for your support. The show is sponsored by, I don't have regular sponsors right now. Sponsored by you guys. You know that. You guys that are normally tuned in, and all you guys that are tuning in right now, I'm looking at everybody. Hey, you guys are here. Look at everybody saying hello. Thanks for being here. The sound was on at the beginning, which is probably confusing to all of you because I screw that up every time. This time I got it right, and the sound's working. Everything's working fine. So there you go. The show is sponsored by you guys. Thank you so much. Once again, Alex Aguilar, if I could babble. Alex Aguilar threw some money at the Venmo the other day. Thank you guys very much for that. That really it means a lot. In fact, if you want to support the show financially in any way, financial shape or form, feel free to go to right there. Go to lennyschmidt.com/if you can. There's a million different ways to sponsor the show financially there. You can go PayPal, you can do credit card, you can go Venmo, you can go right to Venmo here as well. Look at that right there, Venmo at Lenny Schmidt. You can do all that stuff if you want. Also, if you can't afford financially or frankly you just don't think it's good enough, that's cool. I understand. It's still online, it's still free. You could do me a favor though. You could watch the show on YouTube. You could subscribe to the channel on YouTube and like the videos. All of you right now, I'm going to hit thumbs up. Look, I'm hitting thumbs up on my own video. There's several of you watching the show. All of you should hit thumbs up right now. Do that. That means a lot with YouTube. It goes a long way. And that's what they tell me, I guess, apparently. So if you can't support the show financially or you just don't want to, feel free to give the show a thumbs up or subscribe. Share the video, too. That's actually kind of cool. That's it. That's all I got for promo for the show. It's a tough day here at the Schmidt house. I'll be honest with you. There's some stuff going on. A little stress. A lot of stress going on here at the house. Let's just get to the news. There's not much news going on either. I got some cruise news if you want it. There's the Democratic conventions this week. If you're watching that, feel free. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm going to stay away from it. I don't care. Carnival was hacked, so if you were ever cruising on Carnival, then someone has your credit card now. You're welcome. Just good news just keeps coming from the cruise lines. Lots of good news. Also, I mentioned a story earlier this week. The uncruise out of Alaska, out of Juneau, was canceled and sent back because of a positive coronavirus test. And they canceled all their cruises for all of Alaska. And I mentioned at the time that this could be a false positive. And that was indeed confirmed today. So that's all of the Alaska cruises were canceled because of a false positive test. So that's so 2020, if you think about it. That's just perfect. That's just, you know what I mean? Every time I say it can't get worse, something happens, you're like, yeah, of course. And you know what? Anything can happen right now, and I would totally buy it. You know? You get anything. Jesus could knock on my door with a six-pack, and you say, hey, I'm back. I'm going, of course. Yeah, of course you are. Why not? Hop in. Have a seat. Come on in. Anything. Alligators could walk in here and just start talking. I'd be like, sure. Why not? Why not? All kinds of problems are happening. I can't get quarters. Now I go to the bank. I got to wash clothes. I can't get quarters. This is what I'm going to say. It's 2020. Welcome. I can't wait till this year's over. I've never said that in my life. I've never been a big believer in this year sucks. I can't wait for next year. You know, I always thought you make your own reality and destiny, but I'm being tested this year because this year is a train wreck. All right, I want to say hello to everyone that's here. You guys are all so sweet. First of all, let me start with Rachel Greenberg. Thank you very much, Rachel. I have to say your name first because she gets upset when I don't say her name. Yeah, I know, Larry, you guys, everybody's amazed the sound works from the beginning. You guys are very sweet guests. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Besides that, let's see what else we have here. Rachel's here. Rachel Zimmerman, thank you for coming in here. Larry Warden, of course. Larry Warden, very big supporter of the show. Larry, Rachel, Keith Runyon's here. Keith, I sent you a message. We're going to talk tomorrow about stuff for the new variety show that I'm doing on the 29th. Got all kinds of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about that later. But for now, we're going to stick with this show. And we're going to get right to it because, as I said, I have a guest that's got things to do, places to go. He's got to move on and be somewhere. So, folks, your next guest, or your first guest, the only guest of the show tonight, is from San Francisco originally, stand-up comedian, and also makes a living. He works cruise ships, but he does warm-up for shows, lots of shows, including Dr. Ken, and he's the warm-up guy for the Conan O'Brien show back when we were doing live shows. I'll be interested to hear what he's doing now that he's not warming up crowds. Let's take a moment. Let's take a look at my good friend live, if I don't screw this up, Mr. Gary Cannon.
Quick question. You're a nice guy. How long you been married for? 16 years. Never going to last. Let me ask you something really quickly. Before you met this lady, what was the name of the woman you lost your virginity to? Do you still keep in touch with her? This is going to get awkward. This is going to get very awkward. Coles, I was going to ask you, but I think you still have yours. Now, let me just say this. No offense. By the way, I can tell you look like a very sweet, nice lady, maybe a librarian type. I can tell how many fellas you've been with, give or take 5, all right? I'm going to be generous. I'm going to say 72. Is that a fair number? -6. Now, here's the deal, right? Do you still keep in touch with the woman you lost your virginity to? No, not until tonight. You're full of shit because we have her. She is here in the New York City area. We're going to bring her out. It's going to be a little awkward at first, guys, but then it will be fun. You'll see what's going to happen. Her name is Marianne. Let's bring her in, guys. How about a round of applause for Marianne? Let's do this quickly. I like how 57 people are actually looking at the door right now. Are you guys serious? Holy shit, this would be great. Guys, I normally don't share this story, but I like you guys. I actually lost my virginity in my parents' bedroom, and I know that sounds weird and creepy. I get it, but it was the only place my mom felt comfortable.
Yeah, I love that joke. I'm sorry. I had to go. I kept it in there. I was going to cut it right before the mom joke. That's not happening. No way, man. You got to leave that in there. Folks, give it up for the one and only Mr. Gary Cannon. Here he is. Look, he is. There he is right there, live in person. Yeah. Gary.
By the way, I will tell you this. This is a professional podcast because I can't tell you, and you know this from doing these enough times, how many of these podcasts you do that are supposed to start at 6, 7, whatever, right, and you get a call and they're like, are you in a hurry? Yeah. And I've done podcasts at a person's house where you show up, they're hooking up the equipment when you get there. There's no sense of urgency at all.
Yeah,
so
there's nothing.
This is a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, you know what's crazy? Looking back at that Gotham show, which was a couple of years ago, we were in New York. Conan, when he was filming, brought the show to New York 2 years in a row when I worked for the show. And that was the second year. And we were doing the show from the Apollo. And I just remember losing my voice because you're performing in front of 2,500 people at the Apollo. And I remember losing my voice. And when I went in to do that live at Gotham spot, my voice was just completely blown out. I just remember, you could tell I barely kept it together for that 7 or 8 minutes. It was brutal.
Yeah, that's got to be rough, especially for a guy like you when you're doing crowd warm-up. That's like a 3-4 hour gig. You're all day, man. You got to keep those pipes smooth. You know?
Well, yes and no. When you do a sitcom is a 3-4, maybe even a 7-hour day, depending on the show.
Right.
Conan is not. Conan is great. Conan is one of these rare exceptions, which is great about any late night show. You do 15 minutes before the show starts. Show starts, they're done. You don't even have to, at least for Conan, you don't go out during the breaks. Your day is done the minute that monologue starts.
Oh, great. Okay.
Some of the other shows, Corden, Seth Meyers, those guys, they do have to go out very briefly, but I can literally be in my car as Conan is still doing the monologue. It's the greatest gig ever.
That's the best.
It's amazing.
He's
in, oh my God, it's incredible.
He's in Burbank, right? You guys shoot it over in Burbank?
Yeah, it's crazy. We shoot over at Warner Brothers in Burbank,
right?
Stage 15, and listen, we were full speed ahead in March once the pandemic hit, and then we are very, very fortunate in a sense that we are still, surprisingly enough, blissfully enough, getting paid for the weeks that he shoots new shows.
Oh, really? Wow, good for
Yeah,
you.
so it's crazy because a lot of shows, some shows are still paying, some aren't. Just depends on what the show is, what the contract is. But at the beginning of the year, they said we're doing 30 weeks of shows, and as long as, from what I understand, Conan is still doing the shows, we're still going to get paid. I mean, listen, I feel so lucky, so fortunate. I'd much rather be working, but to still have that job security is the greatest thing ever. It's awesome.
Right. No, that's the best. So there's no Ellen scenario. There's no, go home, don't get paid, don't get yelled at,
Boy, oh
eye
boy,
contact.
Well, listen, I remember, weren't you saying you were you did some stuff on the Warner lot? Was that for Desperate Housewives? Was that the show?
It was acting. Yeah, acting wise, I've been on that lot a lot. I did Desperate Housewives. I did that for ER. I did a bunch of episodes of ER on there.
Yep.
So I've been on the lot a bunch of times, and I auditioned for Eastwood a million times, just never booked. And he's got that bungalow back in the corner. So
Yep.
I mean, I constantly, which is right next to the ER building, which used to be the Lucy building or whatever, right?
Did you know the rumors with her and what she was all about? I mean, it's for anybody to come out and say that they were shocked to hear that is really bad acting, because everybody at Conan knows it.
I said the same thing about the Harvey Weinstein thing, though. When that came out, everyone's like, "Oh my God, I'm shocked." I'm like, "Shut up!" I go, those rumors were flying around town for forever. So I mean, I guess maybe we're in the industry, or you're in an industry town, so you hear about that stuff. But no, I was not. When the news broke, I was like, "Well, that took long." I'm like, I'm surprised that we're just finding out now.
By the way, Lenny, isn't it crazy how social media played a big role in that? Because that whole Ellen thing started months ago during probably April.
It was a tweet
that
thing,
guy
right?
Started that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a guy
and
doing.
Just from there, just the.
It was a joke that
Kevin Porter.
He started doing the stories, and then people really came. Well, what happened was people really came forward, and that's when shit started happening. You're like, oh wow, that's you know. And certain celebrities are making comments, like Brad Garrett said something off the cuff, and a lot of people are like, people that normally don't say things said things, and that's when it got a lot of steam, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. Now listen, I give a pass on some of the stories where a security guy from 1984 was like, I was, I was watching her, and it was my job to protect her, and she wouldn't make eye contact. Well, that's a guy with sour grapes. I mean, I'm sure he wanted pictures and all this. I've seen it. You know what I mean? The thing about Conan too, which is always interesting to me, and I get it, but people always come to the show. I bring guests in, and they always want to meet him. And it's a tough line because he's so nice and so accessible, but you got to remember he's also working, and at the end of the show, I'm sure he's tired and just wants to call it. You know, I remember one time I was my mom came to the show, and I said to my mom, I said, "Hey, just do me a favor. If we meet him organically, great. If not, it's okay. Everything's great." I go and do my job. I come back to the green room to get my mom. And she said, "Oh, I just met Conan," and I said, "Oh, that's great." And she said, I went up to him and said, "I'm Gary's mom." I was like, "You did everything I told you not to do." You know what I mean? It's just like,
thanks, Mom.
I'll
be hearing about that later.
I was working at Dancing with the Stars. I did that for like one season before they fired me, and I did that show. And my mom was so upset that the show was taking as long to film as it was. And she said to me, she's like, "Me and these other ladies that were around her, we need to go outside and smoke." And I was like, "Well, Mom, this is like $1 million production. I'm sure nobody cares that you have to go outside and smoke a cigarette. Just stay there and just be quiet." It's just crazy.
But production.
Yeah, Conan's been a great gig. It's been amazing. It's funny about you and I, because when I was doing cruises last year, I felt like I was always missing you by a week. I felt like
I did. There was a run.
On. Yeah.
I saw you do some sort of showcase for levity at the Improv one night when I was hanging out, and my agents were there and I just stopped in to say hi to Stephanie. So I saw you do a set then, and you were doing Ship. This may be a few years ago, and then you were on Ships before you know it. You killed that night. I mean, you called a guy Whole Foods, which made me laugh harder than anything in my entire life.
Oh, that's funny.
It was the best ever. You're like, "Hey, Whole Foods, I'll get back to you in a second." I just lost it.
Lenny, was that the audition I did for the cruises or for something else?
I think it was for the cruises, and it was in the annex, so it was next door in the small room.
So there's such a funny story about that. I remember when they asked me to do that audition, and I said to the people that book cruises, I said to Stephanie and to Aaron, hey, I don't think that I'm the best choice for this. I don't have a lot of material. Most of the stuff I have is crowd work. It's a little bit dirty. They said, just do it, do the audition, but do us a favor, keep it clean, and don't do crowd work for the audition. So I went up there. I'm slowly sinking. It's not going well. And I just start going off script and just doing crowd work and messing around. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get it. I did what I did. And other people, as you know, were going right by the book. They were doing what they should have been doing. They're talking about their families. So I'm like, well, this is just, one and done. And I just remember getting a call a week later. They're like, welcome to the Norwegian family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Sometimes
you know what I mean?
That's bullshit sometimes. They tell you what they want, and then if you do the opposite... Auditions are like that too. I did a million commercial auditions. I used to do a lot of commercials. They go in and they go, "Don't do these things." And if you do those things, you always booked. You always booked the spot. You're always the guy.
And yeah.
And they tell you not to do crowd work. They tell you not to do crowd work, but you went up there and but the thing was you killed. That was what did it. You know what I mean? It's like if you did crowd work and ate it, that'd be different.
I just remember too, Lenny, there were 2 shows that night. I did the first one.
That's the one I was at. Yeah.
Stephanie was telling the group doing the second show, hey guys, don't do what Gary did. Don't do crowd work. Don't do dirty material. Because I remember hearing it. I'm walking right by it, and I was just like, oh, okay, I'm clearly not going to get it. Yeah. And then I remember doing it, and it felt like you and I just kept missing each other from ship to ship. Because I know you do a couple of different lines. I was just doing primarily Norwegian because they're the ones who booked me through the improv.
Right, through Levity, yeah, which is it's a great gig. It's a good gig. No, I do the 3. Well, I did the 3 lines: Carnival, Norwegian, and Princess. And a lot of Carnival. Did a ton of Carnival stuff.
By the way, and I always ask this of all the comics that do multiple cruise lines, what was your favorite one? I know different cruises offer different things. So I know with Carnival you can do certain things you can't do on Norwegian, but what was if you had to just pick one and stick with that exclusively throughout the year, what would it be? I don't know if I could do that. I honestly appreciate certain different things at different lines. There's certain things I like about them. There's Norwegians. Carnival's a lot of shows, and you get to rotate 5 different shows, and you get to write a lot. And I like that. I like that a lot. But Norwegian gives you the opportunity to repeat shows throughout the week, so it gives you an opportunity to work on material. So if you're working, you're not doing a lot of new stuff on the cruise ship, but if you have a new bit, you can do it 4 nights that week. And I think that's cool. It's also a little bit less shows on Norwegian, and a little more strict on Norwegian. Carnival's adult shows it's out the window. Yeah.
You can do pretty much anything you want. And then Princess is just a whole different world. That's in the theater. Those are tougher shows because 90% of the time the crowds are much older, or I always did crowds from Germany and Australia, and they're tough. There are a lot of joke crowds, man. I learned after a while to do my acts and then throw in 2 or 3 jokes, and I got applause breaks for the jokes. I would get applause breaks, and they go right back into a bit about my kids, and they didn't care about my kids or anything like that. So, but it was just a different animal, But I like all 3.
Yeah, I will tell you. Different. So I was hosting those shows, and for me, not that I mind, or I didn't certainly mind the hosting. It's just a lot of shows. I mean, you're hosting, 7, 9,
for
11.
you. For a host, that's a heavy load. You're there all night. You're there all
night. You have to close the shows. Those 3 night shows are brutal. And listen, I'm not complaining, to somebody that's working in a 120-degree factory.
Agreed.
To them, they're laughing. But it is a little, and this. I mean, from doing these cruises, the funny thing is, and I didn't realize this till we started, but you're looking at the same people that are at the second show that were at the first show that weren't laughing. I mean, it's and they're sitting in the same seats.
Yeah, right.
They don't even have the decency to move. I mean, you're just like, hey, how about sitting in the 3rd row instead of the first? Or it's amazing to me. And I remember I did a cruise. We flew out to they flew us to Costa Rica, and I did a cruise with Dylan Mandelson and Armando Anto. And these shows were so scarcely attended. And I just remember, Lenny, literally, there was a kid that was sitting in the front row with his parents. The kid must have been 8 years old. And we would sit in back, and we'd see him on the monitors. We'd be like, son of a bitch, that kid's here again, son of a bitch. And then we'd go out in front of the crowd, be like, it's little Larry. Oh my God, so great to see you, little Larry. And you're just like, just so unhappy that little Larry is there again. They couldn't find anything else to do on that ship. Nothing.
There's a million things to do in this shit to drag that kid into another comedy show.
Million things. Yeah. But I will
right.
tell you, I really, I enjoyed it. It was, the only problem is it's, you're just away from home for a little
Yeah.
bit longer than you want to be. But as you know, it's certainly better than the clubs. It pays better than the clubs. I mean,
Much.
you definitely, get all your food. It's a good gig. It's not, it's not bad at all. I didn't mind it.
Well, there's other restrictions that certain guys can't deal with. Like on some of the lines, Carnival, you get drug tested. So if you're a pot smoker or anything like that. So what I did, I quit smoking pot on the cruise. You know what I mean? People complain about it all the time. And I got kids to feed. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to smoke pot then. Okay.
Sure.
If that's the rule. And plus, if you sign people complain all the time that they would get tested and they complain. And I'm a big believer, and this is the same thing like when you guys are complaining about money. I'm like, if you agree to do the gig, shut up. You agreed to be there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
don't agree next time. How's that? You don't have to do it next time.
I don't know how you are, but listen, for me, I love social interaction. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that did the show and ran back to my room and then wasn't seen for the full day.
Right.
I would hang out. I would
hung out a
love
lot.
meeting people, hearing their story, where they were from, kids, all that stuff. I loved it, but I know a lot of guys didn't, and that's maybe why they, just became reclusive on the ship. But I enjoyed that part of it. It was a big thing for me.
Well, a big part of it, too, is some of the guys, like you get to the point where a lot of these a lot of the cruise comics have been around for a long time. Like most of them have been doing comedy 20, 30 years. A lot of those guys are in AA and don't drink anymore, and they don't hang out at bars, and they don't do they stay away from that stuff.
Yeah.
I drink, so I used to hang out in the howl room all the time, even when I wasn't working. That was more fun. That was a blast. I mean, I had so much fun with that. They're so much fun and so entertaining and so talented, man. That's talent to work 5 nights in a room and just start spewing out songs. And some of them people they could play any song by ear. That always blew me away. If you knew someone that learned, they can't read music, but they taught themselves by ear. You know what I mean? Like, I can't comprehend music for a second, so someone just goes, well, I'll figure it out. And you're like, well, how do you figure it out? And you could just sit there.
Those guys. True. You know what I loved? And I experienced this for the first time last year when I started doing cruises. You do the 2 weeks back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
So by the end of that first cruise, you are a celebrity. I mean, they love you. You're walking around. People recognize you.
Yeah.
They want to talk to you. They want a picture, whatever. And then Sunday, they're leaving. And you're saying goodbye to your family, and then a new group comes on who you're eating with at the buffet, and they have no clue who you are.
Right.
You haven't earned any of their trust or likability.
Right.
And you're just sitting there. To them, they're looking like, who's this idiot?
Yeah, who's the
like,
guy?
Right. And so it takes a couple of shows, where...
Oh, no, what happened? We lost Gary Cannon. That's the worst. That was let me text him really fast, see if I can get him. I don't know what happened there. Oh, maybe he got a power outage. We're getting the power rolling outage stuff. Hang on, I'm going to text him right now. Uh-oh. I don't wonder if his power went down. That would be the worst. I'm going to text him. Yeah, so, let's say hello to see who's here. Hi, guys. Rachel. Hey, guys, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. You guys are the best. Look at this. Front row is the best, Brenda, by the way. You guys are always in the front row. I got to tell him. Lost you. Oh, my power's on. I wonder if his power went out. That's the worst. How unfortunate. This was going so well. This was the kids in Westview, those little shits. I blame the kids in Westview. He's not getting back to me yet. I hope he's okay. Hope nothing went wrong. Hope it wasn't like what I said in the opening, like an alligator broke into his house and said something. Let's check on the people online real quick and see what's going on with some of the guests here. Larry gambles too much on the boat. All right, we can't gamble on the boat, by the way, Larry. That's another rule that we have to follow there for us. No, great. I'm reading your comments backwards, which are very confusing to me, by the way. Here we go. Rachel, hi, Tammy. Vince is working. Oh, hi, Lily just walked out. It's chaos. It's chaos here at the Schmidt house. I don't know what to tell you. I feel bad for Gary Cannon. I texted him. I haven't heard back from him yet. That's really unfortunate. Maybe his power went out. We got a whole thing going on here with the power grid in LA. It's a huge issue right now. Oh wait, there he's back. I think he's. Hold on a second. Hold on. There. I think.
Yeah,
what
I can
happened?
tell you exactly what happened.
Yeah. What happened?
So I'm so sorry. I literally.
No, I thought it was me. It's me 90% of the time. I'm like, what did I do?
No, I had it hooked up to my iPad, and the iPad got a phone call.
Ah, all right. That's the best.
I don't even know how to disable that. But basically, no. So that's it's crazy because that's kind of what happens on these ships, that you just become the hero towards the end of the week, and people want to buy you drinks, and then
Yeah.
night 2 of a brand new cruise, nobody knows who you are.
Nobody has a clue. Yeah, right. Yeah, but then after a few weeks, everybody knows exactly who you are. That's the best, man.
It's great.
I like
it's
it, man.
great.
Are you going to go back when they go back out, or are you going to not go back? Because they're going to probably
Well-
send people. Well, it won't matter really, because they'll ask for people to go out longer, I think. But if you say no, you just do 2 weeks and you're done. I guess. I don't know.
I will listen. I will say this. There's, and you know this better than anybody. You've done it a long time. There are things that I absolutely love about the ships. Love. I mean, you're swimming in an ocean, thousands of miles away and getting paid for it, right?
Ports are the best. Yeah.
I love it. But what I don't like are just these small minutia issues that you're dealing with, and you're like, I'm kind of a grown man. I don't,
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the security people, when you're dealing with this, when you're dealing with that, and I know people would say, hey, it's part of working, but there are those little things that I'm sure you've dealt with so many times where it's like, hey, can I get a beer here? Absolutely. They look at your card. Sorry, you can't, like, you're like, what's going on here?
Well,
Like,
that
just little
dining room
things like
thing
that.
pisses me off on the Norwegian ships. That's an issue with Norwegian
It's
sometimes.
by the way, when there's nobody there,
That's
when
what
there's
that
nobody
dude.
there.
That's what it makes me crazy. That happened to us on Christmas night one time, and they wouldn't give us the table, and I had to walk away. I'm like, I got to walk away, otherwise I'm going to say something, and then I'm fired. You know what I mean? Then I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? If it's just, I had to leave, but they won't let you in. Yeah, they won't give you that. We can't. There's no room. There's no room.
And you're looking.
The room's empty. There's nobody in here.
Yeah. There was a time, it's funny because my wife came with me on this last one that I did out of Miami. And I
Oh,
said
good. At least you
to my
got her
wife,
on before the shit hit the fan. That's kind of
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
It was right before.
Right.
And I said to my wife, I said, you'll see just the little things that kind of bother me. And my wife was like, get out of here. It can't be that bad. And one of the things was they wouldn't help her get on the ship. Like, you know how it is. It's like, it's every man for themselves. It's like, you figure it out. You do what
Yeah.
you need to do. Nobody's there to help you. It's almost like
Yeah, if you're a crew member,
certain
they don't
part-
care. They're like, whatever, figure it
they
out.
don't care.
Right.
Like certain, I'll never forget. I was trying to board the ship. I finally got on. It's like 100 degrees when I boarded, and I said to the theatrical manager, I said, "Can I get a bottle of water? I'm so thirsty." And I remember he gives me one, Lenny, and he said, "This would have been yours for tonight at the show. I'll just give it to you in advance. Don't say anything." It's like this was like amazing currency to them. You're just
Yeah,
like,
right.
and just those little things, like trying to get off the ship, or if they haven't cleared everybody, if they there were so many things that I loved, and then so many things that just drove me crazy. Where I remember working with Dean Edwards one time, and he was trying to get back onto the ship and through security, and they were just hassling him. And he said, "I'm a grown man. I was in the Navy. I'm in room 1745. Come meet up with me if you need to." You know what I mean? He was just fed up with it.
Right. Well, I do. I had a guy one time. You know what it is? I have a problem with authority, so that's why this doesn't work well for me. You know what I mean? That whole issue because they come down to you for things that mean nothing. That you're like
Right.
I had a security guard stop me on I-95, which is the hallway that all the crew
Yep.
walks up and down on, and I had I had come from the spa. It was spa day. The spa night is when the crew can go up to the spa and hang out. It's like at midnight or whatever. So you get free reign at the spa. So I always go. I go into the spa room and the steam room, and I'm wearing flip-flops, and I'm coming back, and the security guard stops me on I-95. Goes, "You're not supposed to be wearing flip-flops down here." I go, "Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I was in the spa doing the spa night." He goes, "Yeah, but you're not supposed to be wearing those flip." I go, I you're right. Agreed. 100%. I'm my fault. I screwed up. I'm going to my cabin right now." He's like, "Well, you should put on regular shoes." I go, Well, I'm going to my cab. I go, should I go get the shoes and come back and show them to you? And then what do you want? Where are we going here? What do you want me to do? He's like, well, you shouldn't be wearing the shoes. I go, again, agreed, 100%. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm like, I got to get out of here. Otherwise, I'm going to tell somebody to F off and lose my temper, you know, because I'm a grown man. I got it. I understand. I'm 55 and I made a mistake wearing flip-flops
Right.
and, you know, my bad. I screwed you. You can't apologize.
Have you ever said anything on the ship where you're like, I regret saying that joke. This could cost me the gig?
No, I've accidentally swore in a clean show twice. And,
Okay.
And that's the only thing I did that I felt bad about, but I didn't think I would get fired over because it was an honest mistake. It wasn't like I snapped
Okay.
the crowd to F off. But I can't remember telling a joke ever where I was like, I'm going to get in trouble for that joke. Yeah, I don't think I ever
Felt that.
No, I never felt that once. Not one time. I felt pretty comfortable. And then, but like again, Carnival adult shows, there's a lot of leeway there. But the Norwegian adult shows, I'm a lot more careful about what I'm saying on those shows. There's certain jokes I won't do that on Norwegian I do on Carnival, just because I don't know if I go too far. And I've asked the what do they call it, the Tom or the whatever, the people there. I go, hey, I don't want to get too adult in the show. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. Feel free to do whatever. But I've heard of guys getting in trouble for being too adult in an adult show. I mean, I've heard of people complain. All it takes is a corporate gig, dude. All it takes is one person to complain, and the corporation always sides with the guest or the customer, and then you're SOL. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, sorry. Have you done it? Have you told a joke?
Well, no, but I mean, the difficult thing that I faced was, listen, I remember it was like my second run on Norwegian, and I got a feedback from the Tom. It was a 2-week gig, and the feedback was that I was too aggressive with the crowd, which was weird because, again, like, I remember everybody having a good time. I don't remember anybody getting upset or whatnot. But it's one of those things where I think you want to please everybody, and then when you kind of get a negative review, you're like, oh, what just happened? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it just takes one. So the people that complain and write a letter are the people that have time. Those people have time to do. You know what I mean? If all the people that loved you wrote a letter, it would be a whole different story. But that doesn't happen. You know, most of the people that love you high five you, say good show, whatever, buy a CD, shake your hand, buy you a drink, and it's the end of the night. If they don't like you, they'll sit down and write a 3-page montage, you know, about how Gary Cannon was insensitive, and you know, those people have time on their hands. That's what they do.
Well, you also know this too, Lenny. Like, you could hear people complaining all day, every day about the Broadway show, about this, that, the other thing. There's no way that those parts of the ship are going to get canceled because there's too much money invested.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard, oh, this Broadway show was horrible, absolutely horrible, or this place was bad. But they're never going to let it go just because of what it is. They just won't do it.
Right. But also it depends on
We're the most expendable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're also the easiest ones they can throw on a stage to cover an hour. You know what I mean? We're also, that's the funniest thing is we're expendable. However, when all the power goes down or we're Rocky and you can't have dancers and they need comics, the first thing they can do is they'll throw a comic up, and any comic on those ships can go up and do an hour in a theater and entertain that whole theater and without a hitch, without a problem.
Yeah, it's interesting. There were, like I said, I met, I'm sure you have too, like so many amazing people on those things. Yeah. I mean, just, you know, hearing people's stories and, you know, some people who just had a very wealthy retirement and a very wealthy lifestyle, and that's all they did was cruise the world. That's what they did. And then you meet other people, you know, who were from a small little town in Wisconsin that saved up their money for the last 5 years, and they were there as their big vacation. And you know, they were just as awesome and so great. And like that's what I loved. I love that whole aspect of it and getting to know people. For me, that was just incredible.
I loved the crew aspect of it, man, because we got to know so many. First of all, the hardest working people I've seen. Those ships, they work them, you know, 14 hours a day. I mean, they work all day long, nonstop. So we would sit around in the crew bar or in some of the ships and talk politics with guys from Croatia and Ireland and England. And I mean, all these different places. And I really love that aspect. I learned so much about the rest of the world and people by just talking to people from different countries and different worlds about what they go through.
Well, it was also interesting too, as you know, like you would meet somebody and they would be like, I'm on here until, you know, October. And you'd be like, October? You're like, I got another 6 days. I don't know if I can pull it off. You know what I mean? And you have to like downplay it. You'll be like, oh, well, it'll go by quick.
Yeah. You're like, October's nothing. And in the meantime, you know you're gonna see that person 3 times before they leave. You know what I mean? That happens a bunch of times. Well, I'll see you again.
It's a great way to make a living. It's a fun way. What was your favorite place to go visit that you got paid to go see?
Oh, easily. Well, I enjoy spending the day in Grand Turk. That's a great place for me to hang out. I love that island. But easily the best place to get paid to go to was Dublin, Ireland. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
It was the best. I got off as early as I could. I walked through the city. I did everything, man. I grabbed a pint, had some curry. You know, I'm half Irish. I did the whole thing. Beautiful city, beautiful. I got paid to be there for the day. I came back, so that easily was the best place for me to go hang out to get paid for it to go see. I mean,
as you know, the people you're working with can make or break the week.
Yeah, no, that's a huge deal, especially on Norwegian, because there's 3 of you. So you hang out, you hang out and eat all week. Like usually, most of the time, we ate together all week. You know what I mean? You'd be like, "What time is lunch?" Whatever, blah blah blah. Blah. You know what I mean? But it makes a big deal. Carnival's only one of the guys. So if you get on and some guy you don't stand or a guy you don't, you're like, "Oh, hey." What's up?
And isn't Princess just one guy? Just you, right? Or that
Princess is one comic. Yeah, it's one comic, but there's other performers. There's usually a juggler, and then there's a singer and a soloist, and then there's the crew member, the bands, and all those. But you have they have their fly-ons, which are different, a magician, a hypnotist. So I always hang out with jugglers and hang out with those guys. So but they come and go so quick on Princess. You're not there sometimes for a week. You're only there for 2 or 3 days, and they ship you out. Like I did one gig, which was 9 days, but 3 ships. So I did.
Oh, one
just
ship. Jumping around.
Yeah, so you got in one ship, and I would get off. I got off in Edinburgh or whatever, and stayed, spent the night in a hotel. Got on another ship the next day. Then the other one got off, flew back through Heathrow, and then back on to Ireland. And got on a ship there. So that's what they did. They bounced you in and out real quick. And those were world's cruises, where they were like 250-day cruises, 200-day cruises or something. So
wow.
Yeah, so people could come on and do short cruises, but there were a lot of people that were on that ship for 200 days. And the first show I did for Princess was for a world's cruise, and it was, I mean, I went out there, I got on the day of, it was one of those hectic travel days. I go out there, I do the show, and the first 4 minutes in, I'm like, this is not going well. I'm never coming back. And I mean, 10 minutes in, it's not, and the whole show was a struggle. I did about an hour, and it went fair or whatever, but it was like, I mean, it was like, there was dead air sometimes. There was some dead air sometimes. And I got off, and I'm in the back, and the cruise director and the sound people are like, dude, that was the best. And I go, what? What were you watching? And
what were you seeing?
Yeah, I go, because I thought I was done. I thought this is my last Princess gig ever. And the cruise director was like, no, we should have told you before you went out. Like, we should have told you before we went out. All these people have been here for 200 days. So they've seen every type of entertainer. And all the stuff you did up front about the ship, you probably shouldn't have done. I go, yeah, I could have used that info earlier, maybe, because I could have dropped all that boat stuff that they've seen 100 times in the last 2 weeks or whatever.
Thanks for bringing this up now.
Yeah, could have a little heads up. Any heads up? I asked before I went out. Is there anything I should know? No, just have fun. Okay.
You're good. Just keep going.
You're good. Keep going. Yeah, it was so bad. I thought I was going to get a light after 10 minutes. It was just bad. I'm working the crowd with a guy from Australia. I mean, it was just like plates. I mean, it was everything you could possibly think about. I was reassessing my whole career. I'm
digging a ditch.
Yeah, this might not be for me, these Princess gigs. So that's how that went, man. So what do you got tonight, man? I saw your face on Times Square. What was that about? Is that your thing tonight? You're doing a Zoom show?
No.
Was that superimposed bullshit? Is that what that was?
Superimposed, Lenny.
Damn it! I bought into it
tonight with a friend who was my DJ on some of the warm-up gigs that I did. So he's a DJ. He does a podcast. I'm doing a little bit of stand-up on it, stuff like that with some buddies. But yeah, that's it. It's a little thing that I'm doing for him. I was supposed to do it a couple months ago, and it didn't work out. So that's the big thing tonight.
Okay, now when you do, I was going to ask you this earlier. When you did Dancing with the Stars, do you know John DeCrosta?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
John did warm-up stuff for years ago, and he was telling me there's a lot of warm-up guys that bring a whole music and sound thing with them when they do that type of deal. And Dancing with the Stars is one of those type of deals.
Well, Dancing with the Stars, I mean, that's a tough gig because, it's just you, and there's like 3 levels to that ballroom, and it was anybody who will tell you, I don't know if John did that show or not, but anybody will tell you
he might have done AGT.
Maybe one of the. You did that one?
No. I haven't done any of those yet because I was trying to. We talked earlier. I was trying to get into this about a year and two years ago, and John's one of the guys I talked to.
Yeah, because John did it for a long time and then just found so much success with cruises. But listen, some of those gigs are great. Some of them are brutal. You know, AGT, that's a long day, really long day. You know, that's why everybody kind of keeps their eye on the sitcom because, you know, a sitcom, yeah, it's 3-4 hours, but it's amazing financially. Those are the gigs you want because, yeah, they can be long days, but they do pay the best out of all of the shows that are happening in LA. But there's only a small group of people that do those gigs, so it's very limited.
Dude, it also, and a testament to you, if that's the right word, to be able to work a room and stay clean, because you got to stay clean for those warm-up shows, right? All of them?
Not necessarily for Conan. You can be a little on the dirty side. Yeah,
cool.
You cater your act to what the show is. So
right, okay, right.
You don't have to be with Conan. No.
Okay.
You can mix it up a little bit. But, you know, a show like Ellen, I'm sure the guy's clean.
Oh, yeah.
America's Funniest Video. Shows like that, you're definitely keeping it cleaner.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
You cater to the show.
Right.
That's great.
Well, dude, it's a perfect transition for you to go from warm-up gigs to do ships, because you're doing this. It's the same crowd all week, so you're working with that. And then, if you work the crowd like you do, now you're going to Martha and Barb and stuff on Tuesday, and you're calling stuff back on. I had a kid on a ship once. I kept calling him Tom Brady, and it drove him crazy because he hated Brady, and his name was Brady, so I called him Tom Brady. He's like, "Don't do that. He's a Dolphin fan or something." So I called him Tom Brady.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Every time he came into the show, he'd go, "Tom Brady's here," and he would scream, "Don't call me Tom!" and the crowd would laugh. I mean, you know, you got running jokes for like the week. That's what's kind of cool about the ship thing, actually.
Well, and you know, it's funny because when you do make fun of them, they love it because they're part of it. Like they become part of the gig, and then people are kind of goofing with them around. They're calling them that throughout the week. Does that make sense? It's
no, of course. That's their nickname,
They become those people, which is so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, they especially on day one, like Carnival does those 3-day cruises, which I don't know if you ever had the pleasure of doing a 3-day cruise.
No, I haven't done that.
Yeah, they're great. They are. It's a lot of
bad?
It's a lot of drunk. It's a booze cruise. It's a lot of drunk. It's a lot of drunk and crazy. It's like doing a Tribble gig. I don't know if you ever had the pleasure. You're from San Francisco. You might have done a.
I've never done a Tribble gig.
Really? All right. Well,
no, but
any one-nighter in the Northwest, any one-nighter. That's
bad.
what the 3 nights. Yeah, that's what those are like. You have your
the
dog?
one-nighters. Yeah, I've never done a Tribble gig. I knew that they were bad, but Tribble's name goes down in infamy for being so bad.
It does. Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
Him and Yoder. There's two names that guys bring up a lot. And
does Yoder book a lot of that bad stuff?
Well, yeah, he's got the stuff through the Midwest. He's got stuff through. He's got Michigan.
My wife ran my power cord.
Good, right on, awesome. Hi.
It's Lenny. Say hi.
Hi, Lenny.
Hey, how
Hi,
are
Lenny.
you? What's your wife's
She's
name?
in my cord.
Oh, plug in the cord. Wow, that's great, man. Look at that. Your wife helping you out. That's cool. My kids.
Yeah, I know. Before it goes dead.
My kids leave me hanging.
Okay.
I could be on
There we
fire.
go.
My kids would be ignoring me right now.
They don't care.
They
Hold
don't care
on.
at all. No, they're sick of me.
Okay, I got it. Good. Oh, now we're. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it literally was a great transition from doing holy shit! Sorry, Lenny. From doing cruises to, or from doing crowd work to cruises. I mean, it really worked. I mean, I was really happy because again, that whole part of just stand up, going in there and getting them wound up was great, which is what I loved about it. I mean, and by the way, you're only doing 10 minutes on Norwegian, and that 10 minutes goes by so fast.
Oh, for you, yeah, I bet at the beginning. Yeah, right on. Yeah, to
So
open
fast.
up.
It's great.
Yeah, goes quick.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, dude,
Right on.
I knew John through warm-up. John's probably one of the busiest guys on Carnival. He does it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a bunch. I had him on the show early on, before I had the kinks worked out. There was a whole span. There's a whole span. If you ever get a chance, if you watch some of the earlier shows, they're not good. There's a lot of.
I saw. Yeah, it's so funny. Well, listen, I mean, as you're getting used to it, you have to get the kinks worked out.
Yeah, well, I purposely jumped into it like head first, I'll figure it all out. You know what I mean? It's either that or don't do nothing.
Sure.
So, there we go.
Well, listen, I think. What's your thought on when the cruises will be back?
I don't know. I really this Alaska thing I think is really an issue. It's really a huge issue. So I think they got to work that out. But I thought they'd be back by the holidays for a while. I really thought that they would push to get something back by the holidays. I think the Carnival and Norwegian and the U.S. ships were really smart about postponing and waiting until they got things figured out. I think they're learning from all these mistakes. And when they do launch it around November or Thanksgiving, they're going to have some stuff figured out. But this Alaska thing is kind of a big deal. And I think that they really screwed that up. They had to cancel the whole season because of a false positive. And
it's absolutely incredible.
And it wasn't even the ship's fault. That was the state's fault. So, you know what I mean? There's too many people involved.
It's amazing, especially. I don't know when we're going to go back to Conan. I don't know what the situation is there. I don't know. I mean, he's been doing shows without an audience, but I don't know when we're going to be allowed back in the studio and be allowed to have what was back to normal. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out.
Like even in social distancing, how are you going to pull? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, you would think. I mean, why couldn't we throw 50 people in the audience? But I don't know. I think they're going to just be cautious and not do it. I think that's the plan.
Well, I think they'll drag it out as long as they can, and then they'll get to a point where they go, we've got to figure something out. Like you can't not have live entertainment. Like it's a big deal to have a crowd for the Conan show. You know what I mean? You can't. Those late night shows without crowds are a whole different world. Even if I don't care if the room.
Well, he needs it.
Yeah. And it's and he's so good with the crowd too, joke like a very Johnny Carson-esque. Remember how great he was with the crowd, where he would tell a joke and it wouldn't work and he'd respond. He was brilliant. He was just brilliant. So that live audience is a big part of that show.
Certain shows you could say, hey, you don't need an audience, but you definitely need one for his show. There's no question.
Yeah, absolutely.
For any of those late shows, for any of the comedies. But you could say maybe a game show doesn't, maybe like a Dr. Phil, maybe some of those shows. But you definitely need something for Conan, Fallon, all those. There's no question.
And other shows you could lie and cheat. You could lie on, like you said, Dr. Phil. You could cheat with piped whatever. But because those live shows, they're so. I mean, even though they're taped live, basically they're taped live. Those live shows so interactive with the guests back and forth. Stuff happens not planned sometimes. Crowd reacts. It's a big deal. You know what I mean? You need that energy.
Some of the best moments.
Yes, absolutely.
Some of the best moments are Conan going off like that. They're the greatest.
Yeah, they're the greatest.
They're so funny.
All right, dude, I think we're going to wrap it up. We're at 6:48. I want to get you out of here. I know you got the thing in New York. It's very important. I want to make sure you get up on New York.
On the Times Square billboard.
Yeah, I don't want any issues with the city. I don't want anything like that.
Listen, Lenny, I mean, that pays $25,000, so we better make sure that we are in the right time frame.
Yeah, I want to mess you up. Did you get my check? Did you get the check I sent you?
Not yet. No, I'll be looking for it, though.
It's on its way. Yeah, it's on its way. All right, folks.
And by the way, I didn't realize we're very close. We live very close to each other, so we have to meet
Where are you
up,
at? I mentioned I was in Sherman Oaks. Sherman Oaks?
Encino.
Oh, you're right over there. Okay, where? Okay, cool. You got to be close. My daughter works in Encino.
I'm off of Balboa.
Oh, but she works right over there. She's at you ever been to the Paris Baguette over in it's over by the Fridays. Yeah, that's where she works.
Who works there?
My daughter. My oldest daughter works there.
She does. I know that place very well. It's right. Yeah, it's right. It's right. No, it's by Chili's.
Yeah, right by Chili's. That's it. That mall thing. Dude, let's do something next week. I'll send you a message. We'll go get lunch or something.
Oh my God. I would love it.
There's a million great places over there and go eat. Folks, Gary Cannon right there. Give him a round of applause. He was here. His wife brought him a power card. He's got to go to New York. Thank you very much, man. Take it easy. You're the best. That is Gary Cannon, man. He's the best. That was great. You guys were great. Thanks for sticking around. We had some minor technical problems. I'm going to blame the kids at Westview. I don't care what anyone says. Let's, you know what, we're back. Let's take a moment to say hello to everybody. We wrapped up earlier, so I want to say hello to some of you guys. I haven't said much to you guys in a while. You guys, I can't thank you enough for tuning in. I haven't even checked Facebook, man. Let's check. Good. Most of you are here. All right, man. Some of you guys were on Facebook. John, is that John? Oh, Jane Michalak. Man, I had cousins and relatives over there. My agent, of course. My agent goes on Facebook and then complains that no one's there. And then I keep going, come to YouTube, dude. All right, man. Let's see what you guys got to say over here on YouTube. I got people texting me right now during this. This is great. Rachel, you're welcome. Thank you. Brenda, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, Gary was great, man. He had something to do at 6, but he was nice enough to come in here and do the show. Any local comedy shows in L.A. or O.C.? I have nothing yet, but I would assume I'm going to be back in San Clemente soon. If they're doing shows, I got to touch base with them and see what's going on. But there's a place in San Clemente I was going to do. I wanted to do the drive-in shows over there at the Improv, but I haven't worked that out yet. So I'm going to reach out, see if I can do that. I don't know if that's a good idea or something I want to do. I'm not really sure. They're doing live music. Where are they doing live music at? Send your agent the code. Right. Okay. You're right. All right. I'll send it to him. Tell him to use it. Absolutely. I will send him the code. Once again, Larry, thank you for the code. I need to talk to you about making sure that some of that stuff is good. I have a brand new backdrop coming in, guys. You'll see after I have this up today because I have to record, believe it or not, some promos for a live show I have in my road work, Oklahoma City, Wichita is coming up in a few weeks. So I have to do live bumpers for that. I'll be doing it with the fancy backdrop sans the Chicago thing. Maybe I'll leave it up there. I don't know. I like it. But I got a brand new quarantine comedy backdrop coming in tomorrow. I hope you guys will like it. I hope you'll be impressed with it. I am. And the rest of you guys, thank you again for being here. Did I get your Facebook message from Robin? Oh, yes, I did, Robin. I'm working on names for the show that's going to be on the 29th, August 29th. Keith pitched me some names the other day, and Robin gave me a list of a bunch of names today. Basically, it's a live variety comedy show on the 29th. It's not going to be just a Zoom stand-up show. I've got sketches from other people that have been on this show that are going to be. There's a couple videos I'm shooting. There's a live improv thing I'm doing. There's some stuff where you guys can get involved. I'm trying to kind of reinvent a format here and try to work with this platform on different levels, and we're going to try to do that on August 29th. I'm looking for a proper name for that show. I was going to go with the platform, and I don't like that anymore. I liked that for a couple of days. And now that's gone. Robin, you gave me a couple that I thought were really good. I can't remember which one I liked the most. I almost want to go with, this might sound cheesy, Giggle Bites? What do you think? Giggle Bites. I don't know. I'm going to throw that out for a vote right now. We're going to see how many Giggle Bites does it take to get a mega Giggle Bite. I don't know. A Giggle Bite? That might be kind of funny. That could be really lame. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to throw it out there. No one's saying anything yet. Robin. Here's the ones. Let's talk about Robin's really quick. Comedy Chaos. That's kind of cool. I have a friend that uses that, though, so I don't want to use that. Yeah, it would be Bites, B-Y-T-E-S. So Giggle Bites. Giggle Bites. That's what I was thinking. That's a little twist. Monthly Badness. Okay, that's all right. Monthly Mayhem. There's a little monthly theme. Versatile Variety. That's not bad. Loaded Laughs. Uploaded Laughs. Well, we'll see. These aren't bad. These are some pretty good ideas, Robin. Thank you very much. I can't find... let me see if I can find the ones Keith sent me. Keith sent me a list. I don't know if they're on Instagram. They're not. He emailed them to me, and I'm going to have to look for them again. But he had a couple of dick jokes in there. You know, he had a couple that were good, and then he had, I guess, a phallic one. I don't know. But he had some good ideas. But Keith is going to be involved in that show as well, folks. Keith is going to be in a sketch on that August 29th show. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. I got a pretty good idea. Him and I, it's going to be a bit of a surprise, so we're going to try and work that out. Right now, Giggle Bites seems to be what I'm leaning toward. So if I can think of another name, I wanted to say, you know, funny online and new platform, new invention, new world comedy, new world order, and all that type of stuff. I guess that's it. All right, I got to go. You guys have been a lot of fun. Let's check, see anything happen in the news that's really important. No, there's DNC stuff going on. I got no other new stuff. That's all I got. You guys have been great. My good friend Rich Chasler will be on here on Friday, so make sure you tune in Friday to see him. This podcast will be uploaded sans the dark... well, we'll see. We'll leave it in there. I don't know. You guys have been great. I can't thank you enough for all your support. Again, for anybody watching the show, just tuning in now, if you guys want to support the show yourselves, bam, financially, go right there. Go to lennyschmidt.com / if you can. See what I did? That's kind of cute there. If you can... donate to the show, support the show, or go to Venmo. You can do it there. I'm going to set up the variety show itself is going to have its own Venmo and its own platform to do that. Comedy Discharge. Oh, that's not bad. That's Keith. Nice job, Keith. Comedy Discharge. All right, that's kind of good. All right, man. You guys have been a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Take care of yourselves. Be careful. Be safe. Do me a favor. Also, please, please, dream of Pinky.
Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy is hosted and produced by, well, Lenny Schmidt, duh. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video on YouTube, give it a thumbs up or a way to go or whatever the most popular social media thing these kids today are doing. It goes a long way and it really helps us out. Check the description below for info on all today's guests, as well as the host. If you're a fan, you can follow them, like them, or even support them. Go to their site or page and hit their Venmo, PayPal, buy a shirt, an album, a download. Anything you will spend will literally help save the arts. In fact, if you want to support this show, just go to Venmo at Lenny Schmidt. It will help pay for all the stuff that my dad keeps breaking. Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy airs on Facebook Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Each show is recorded, then uploaded to YouTube and released as a podcast the very next day. Also at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Everything's 6 p.m. We keep it simple. That's all we can handle. Thank you for listening to my dad's show, and as always, stream with Pinky.